Dozens of police
investigators are looking at surveillance tape
in the parking lot of the Town Center Mall.
Randy Gorenberg was shot in a furious struggle in her SUV.
Nancy Boquicchio and her 8-year-old daughter Joey were found murdered.
The neighborhood's in shock.
Everybody's a little scared.
It's a nightmare.
It's a cunning, smart, bad guy. A sociopath.
He's believed to be the triggerman who executed a local mother and her 8-year-old daughter.
I had the TV on, and I saw a black SUV.
Both had been shot with a 9mm pistol.
I didn't want to believe it.
Crimes like this just aren't supposed to happen in Boca.
Anybody that can shoot a mother and a 7-year-old daughter in the face is a cold-blooded, calculating sociopath.
It was just horrific, and it was an abduction from a mall.
Randy Gorenberg was last seen leaving the mall and hours later, murdered.
It was like a scene out of a horror movie.
And so Randy's body tumbled to the pavement.
We couldn't fathom it.
She was literally pushed out of a moving vehicle and shot in a very public place.
That was the worst day of my life.
And still no sign of a suspect.
All these years later, what big questions do you have?
Where is he? You know, they keep telling me it's like a puzzle, but they said just the slightest little piece could put the whole thing together.
If you say the names Randy Gorenberg or Nancy and Joey Boquicchio to anyone who's lived in Boca Raton for a long time, you'll see them start to think back, start to remember. That's been my experience each time we've talked to someone about the 2007 murders and attacks with ties to the town center at Boca Raton. There were 3 incidents spanning about 9 months, each of them mothers, middle of the day, shopping at a busy upscale mall. The last place you'd expect anything like this to happen.
Randy loved to hike in the woods. She loved Mother Nature. It was her happy place. She had that wonderful feeling of warmth about her, and she made everybody else feel that way too. You could see her smiling. She was so happy. And if this is my, you know, this is my love, yes.
A woman in her 30s or 40s was found dead at Governor Lawton Childs Memorial Park west of Del Rey around 2 o'clock this afternoon. Onlookers stood in disbelief watching police investigate the scene.
What happened that day?
Well, she was at home, and we know she went to the mall. She bought a John Legend CD and a top at a store. We have her walking out of the mall around 1:15 in the afternoon.
She kept walking, and then she disappeared from the frame.
That view on mall surveillance video is the last time anyone saw Randy alive. No one knows what happened next. Detectives tell us she might have been driven to an ATM.
If we went to take Randy to the bank, it's not going to do him any good. She has no debit card.
Could that have been a huge point of frustration when Randy didn't have an ATM card?
Well, I would think it would be. He probably did not believe her. She has a high-end car, Mercedes SUV. She's dressed in nice clothes. She has a nice pocketbook. Why wouldn't she have a debit card?
It's not until about 45 minutes later that detectives say someone called 911 from a park about 5 miles north of the mall.
At 1:54, someone heard 2 shots and saw Randy's body tumble to the pavement at nearby Governor Lawton Childs Memorial Park.
This is where Randy lost her life.
She came through, and right about the corner is where she lost her life.
The car came in from this way.
Came in this way, came down this way, and this general area here is where the gunshot, and then she fell out of the car here.
Do you think she was trying to get out?
I believe that she was trying to get out, yes. Mm-hmm.
After her body was left at the park, there is video of her SUV pulling into a nearby hardware store about 2 miles away. It was left there with not even a glimpse of who was behind the wheel.
In broad daylight. Unbelievable.
So sad, especially for her family.
Did they kidnap her? Did they grab her? We don't know. And there isn't anybody that remembers that day. It's so unbelievable, isn't it? That no one saw anything. That's why we do this. Maybe we can jog somebody's memory. I came home and I went into the bedroom and I laid down. I put on the news, it was 5 o'clock news, and they were showing a scene of the police finding a body. And I said to myself, I said, oh my God, that poor family, when they find out who this is, how hurtful. And about maybe 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, I get a phone call. But it's very hard to lose a child. I think it's the hardest thing in the world. And that was the worst day of my life, my life to be.
What's the thing that gets you up at night about this case?
I really feel bad for Heidi. I've lived a very blessed life. I've lived a great life. I've been able to enjoy my kids, my grandkids, and Heidi never got that.
She put this on, it looked so beautiful on her. She helped me pick out my dress too. She was very good at that.
How do you have hope after all these years?
Maybe because it is Randy, because she was so loved and so, appreciated by everybody. In my mind, Randy is away. She's not gone. She's just away. And one day, she'll come bouncing and like she always would, hi, Mom, like just that charisma, that personality.
Before Boca could even catch its breath, another attack at the same mall.
Everybody going to that mall was fearful.
Only this time, someone survives a ride all over town.
This is the last video of Heidi's daughter, Randy Gorenberg, alive. She was leaving the town center mall in Boca Raton. At 1:54, someone heard 2 shots and saw Randy's body tumble to the pavement.
In broad daylight.
Who's done this terrible thing?
That was the worst day of my life.
They heard a gunshot, and the car took off, and Randy was laying on the ground.
And it's scary to know that somebody's walking around going to kill somebody.
Five months go by. Randy Gorenberg's killer is still out there. And something strikingly similar happens again. Only this time it's a mother and her young son.
In August of '07, this woman was abducted and robbed at gunpoint with her child in the back seat.
I'm a victim of a remarkably similar August carjacking in the same mall.
The scene of another crime in August when a mother and her son were carjacked.
As a special agent with the FBI, we were contacted by the state attorney's office to basically take a new approach or a fresh look at the case. So Jane Doe went to Boca Town Center Mall to do some shopping with her 2-year-old son in August. Just like any other day you'd go shopping. Jane Doe left the mall and got to her vehicle. She puts her son in the back rear passenger side seat. She then goes to the trunk and puts the packages in along with a stroller. And in the few seconds it took her to walk from the back of the truck to the driver's side door. The suspect, knowing that the door was unlocked, jumped into the car. So when Jane Doe went to get into the driver's side, she looked back and saw the suspect with a gun ordering her into the car. Clearly, the suspect had been watching her and was actually even close enough to the car that she was even oblivious that he was even standing nearby. The time frame, when we're talking only a few seconds, of course, nobody would lock their doors to walk from the back of the car to the front of the car, and he took that opportunity to jump in.
For about the next 45 minutes, the suspect took Jane Doe and her son all over the place, getting lost at times. Retired FBI agent John McVeigh explains it. They drove to ATMs, but an issue creeped up. Her account was running low.
But the suspect knew that she still could make the withdrawals and it wouldn't overdraft her account. Jane Doe, suspicious, said, well, I don't think this is going to work. But she actually said that she was extremely surprised when she punched in $200 and out came $200. And then he made her do it 2 more times. She was then ordered to drive to a parking lot at a hotel out west. At that point, she's bound, she's blindfolded. The suspect gets in the car and starts driving. She said she was praying the whole time that a trooper would pull him over. All the while, her son, who had not been restrained or wasn't blindfolded or anything like that, was crying, was upset. It appeared that the suspect did have some compassion for the child, where he was explaining to Jane Doe, you know, do we need to give him some water, a bottle? And she's like, no, he's okay.
He drives them up and down the interstate right back to the mall. The suspect took Jane Doe's driver's license and left. She's still in the back seat with her hands zip-tied.
She actually took her hands underneath her feet, and she actually referenced it to being a yoga person. And so she took her hands from behind her back and went up under her feet and around.
That's remarkable.
Yeah. In fact, it wasn't believed by the officers when they got there.
Jane Doe and her son weren't hurt physically. He let them go.
Shocking to everyone, a third abduction at the mall.
I can't imagine what they went through. Poor little Joey.
2 more innocent lives taken and a community paralyzed with fear.
It's so senseless.
Police say it happened in broad daylight.
Someone heard 2 shots and saw Randy's body tumble to the pavement.
A mother.
Why? Why would they pick on Randy? Why?
Taken and killed springtime after a day of shopping at a busy, high-end mall.
Abducted and robbed at gunpoint.
Of a remarkably similar August carjacking.
She never even saw him jump in. You don't know what the person's going to do.
Several months later, a mother and her toddler taken from the same mall over the summer. After 45 minutes of terror, he lets them go. Fast forward to the holidays that same year, a mother and her daughter were not so lucky.
You know, first thing in the morning, I still want to call her. Most of the places that I went to with my sister, I haven't been to. I stay away from the mall, haven't been there. Hopefully somebody knows something that they'll come forward. This is a picture that my sister and Joey took exactly 1 year before Radio City. Ironically, they took the picture of in front of the angel. And a year later, they became the angels.
Dozens of police.
Nancy Boquicchio and her 8-year-old daughter Joey were found murdered.
Then left them in an idling SUV in the town center mall.
This is my sister Joey and I, that summer. This day was good.
You're not supposed to see things like that. Nothing, everyone says you can prepare for it, but nothing really does prepare you for what you see.
My sister picked Joey up at school early to take her to the doctor. She came out of the doctor, which was across the street from the mall, and she called me up and she said, I got the best Christmas present anyone could have got. The doctor told me Joey's fine, there's nothing wrong. And she was so excited. I was still on the phone when she got out of the car to walk into the mall. And that was our last conversation. And she never showed up for dinner. No one knew why. I kept calling her. My kids kept calling her. I had the TV on. And I saw a black SUV. And they said 2 people were found dead in this SUV. They didn't say a child. They said 2 people. So I didn't put 2 and 2 together. I didn't want to believe it.
In the parking lot of the Town Center Mall.
I kept watching the news. At 9, I called her job. I says, no, she's not here yet.
You know something's really wrong at this point.
My sister never would miss work and not call. And I said, that's them at the mall. He said, what are you talking about? I said, they're dead, and I hung up the phone.
I have a car park over by Seas on South Side. 2 people in there. I don't know what's going on, what happened to them.
A mall security guard found Nancy's car idling in the parking lot. They'd both been shot.
They sat there for close to 8 hours, 9 hours in that car before they were even found. You know, we don't know if he stayed, if he came back. I mean, he might have. He might have come back to see if they were found. They came out, you know, she went in, they opened up the door, and as soon as you open the door, you know, you jump in. You have Joey, the daughter, who's in the back seat. To have that happen so quickly, people just don't think it's going to happen.
I'm driven by this case because anyone who can shoot a 7-year-old girl in the face and her mother is dangerous, beyond dangerous, sociopath killer, hunter of women. And I'd like to see this guy caught. Everybody would like to see this guy caught.
Every year it gets harder to keep the hope, but I do because I know the police is still working on it.
They believe someone somewhere knows something.
This case affected me. It affected everyone who worked on it. You know, don't get personally involved in cases, but there's no way you can work a case like this without taking it personal. I'd like to think I had a good career. I'd like to think we put some bad guys away and worked some big cases, but it's not fulfilled, not complete.
When you said you had a picture of Joey Boquicchio on your desk, do you still have that photo?
I do. Nancy and Joey.
What did you promise your sister?
My husband and I both promised her that before we came to meet her, we'd find this guy. That's what I think every day. And I say to the police, you know, I need them to catch him. I feel that as a mother, I know my sister, the kind of mother she was. She's not at peace. I just pray to God that at least someday I can meet her and tell her they got him and he's paying.
Next, were these attacks about the money?
I don't think so.
The darker motive at play and the lingering questions after nearly 2 decades. Randy Gorenberg was last seen leaving the mall and hours later, murdered.
I miss her so much. And it's changed my whole life.
Nancy Boquicchio and her 8-year-old daughter Joey.
Both had been shot.
I can't imagine my sister having full peace, knowing he's out there.
Security is now heightened at the town center mall.
Crimes like this just aren't supposed to happen in Boca.
It's frightening. It's scary because I look around. I keep looking around to make sure I'm okay.
I want to have my mace out in my hand along with my keys.
It was just horrific, and it was an abduction from a mall.
This case presented so many questions that needed to be answered. Were there any changes to make the mall safer?
We need to solve this as quickly as possible, so there's that sense of urgency, that sense of stress. What can we do? Have all the pieces of the puzzle come in.
Had the community ever seen anything like this before?
No, and you know, initially it wasn't believed that they were related.
Is this one killer?
Are they all 3 connected? There's a possibility. I mean, you look at the odds of what's the possibility of 3 people being taken from the mall in the same year. You have to keep an open mind. When you work in a homicide, you never get tunnel vision.
Of all the avenues you've gone down, what's the one you keep coming back to?
Well, the one I keep coming back to is that they're all 3 connected. That whoever was doing it had picked the town center mall as a place where there's a great hunting ground for victims. If you want to look at similarities, there was no apparent sexual assault or attempted sexual battery of any of the victims.
What's the detail that takes you down the path of they're not connected?
Well, Randy had none of the items or things done to her to control her that the girl in August did and the Boquicchios did. She's free. She's not tied up. She's nothing. Randy could have been just a learning experience. Maybe he had everything set to do that, and then it fell through. So then he thought, well, if I take a woman with a little child, I can control them a lot easier than I could a single woman who's probably going to fight.
With everything you know about these 3 cases, after all these years, are we looking for one killer?
Yes, I believe so.
You say that with such confidence.
Yes, because, you know, the coincidences are way too close. And, you know, nothing before has happened there and nothing after has happened there.
Were these attacks about the money?
I don't think so. I think the money was just a derivative, a benefit. I think it's more of a control. You know, you have somebody who is taking the opportunity to control the women.
If you look at it, it's more of a power control type of thing. I have the power over you, I can control you, and make you do what I want you to do. I still believe that. Because to me, there's just not that much money. I mean, he went to a lot of work for a little bit of money.
What strikes you most about this progression of control?
That he can adapt to his environment and he can adapt to his crime.
Do I think the motive would have been just the cash? No, I think there was more to the suspect's planning and, organization that was done on the case.
Why did it stop?
That's a good question. Was it because he decided that he didn't want to do this anymore? Look, a lot of serial killers stop. Is he doing something somewhere else? Did he adapt again? I'm going to try something differently now.
If someone did something this heinous, could they have fled? That's a theory. Could the person still be living in the area and just either change their mode operandus as to how they're committing crimes? They could have stopped committing crimes. There's a lot of different theories out there on where the suspect could be.
Well, it's the ultimate needle in a haystack.
Next, the major clues.
It seems so solvable to me. It really does.
Why authorities are still coming up empty-handed.
17 years later, and there are a number of clues on these three cases from 2007 with ties to the town center at Boca Raton. We had a chance to go in depth with the lead DNA analyst on the Randy Gorenberg case and the lead detective. How many times over the years have you pored over these photos?
I've looked over them. Everybody's looked over them. I mean, once you see them, see if you see something different, but they're all basically come up with the same conclusions.
This one really stands out to me. What are we seeing?
This is the projectile, or the casing, from the bullet that killed her.
The purse, the shoes, never found.
Never found. We're assuming that he probably took the purse when he dumped the car.
Could that be the missing piece to crack this case?
That could be part of the missing puzzle, yeah. I know that he took her someplace. And if we could find out where he took her, maybe that could be the answer to help solve the case.
I think with all of these cases, but especially with this one, is I shop at a mall. I put packages in a car. I do everything that this woman did, and it could have been anybody.
You've been on the Gorenberg case since day one, correct?
Correct. This case was considered an ASAP case or an emergency case, given the public nature of the homicide. So she was literally pushed out of a moving vehicle and shot in a very public place with many, many people around. Because if this was random, who was next? Could there be a next?
How much DNA is there in Randy's case?
There's quite a bit of DNA in this case. The only type of, limitation in this case would be that we have DNA mixtures, which are not unanticipated in any crime scene. We had a car and we had it recovered from a parking lot, and it was almost a present. It is virtually impossible to not leave your DNA behind. We just haven't matched anyone to a profile yet. When DNA is gone, it's gone. So what we try and do is we try and be very judicious about the types of analysis we do.
With bloodstains inside.
Is this going to happen again? Is it going to happen to, who can it happen to? It really puts the public in a very vulnerable place.
Another piece of this puzzle, the suspect profile. Retired FBI agent John McVeigh tells me the FBI gets thousands of requests to create these suspect profiles, but actually they create not even 80 a year. What did the FBI profile on this guy show?
It was probably somebody, white male, in their 30s to 40s, probably happy with being alone or by themselves. There's suspect that they might have had some type of military or law enforcement background due to the fact of how they secured the victims.
What stands out to you most about that profile?
The military and law enforcement background.
Why?
Because of their knowledge of the crime scene, the meticulous going into bringing all these tools with you. Again, no DNA, basically no fingerprints left behind, things like that, that they took some type of means probably to clean up.
Next,
it blows my mind to think about where this person could be now.
with the killer still out there, what's changed at the mall?
I never felt unsafe shopping at the Boca Raton Center Mall. It was nice. It was pleasant. It was airy and open, and really, even to this day, the Boca Raton Center Mall is kind of the destination for all things beautiful. I'm Jamie Ostroff. I am the chief investigative reporter at WPTV News Channel 5. I visited my grandparents frequently. I went shopping at the mall right around that time with my grandmother all the time. And I had no idea any of this was going on.
Dozens of police
investigators are looking at surveillance tape
in the parking lot of the Town Center Mall.
Randy Gorenberg was shot in a furious struggle in her SUV.
Nancy Boquicchio and her 8-year-old daughter Joey were found murdered.
The neighborhood's in shock.
Everybody's a little scared.
It's a nightmare.
I love getting to the bottom of things, and this case presented so many questions that needed to be answered. I spent a lot of time talking with the Boca Raton Police Department about what things were like for them back then, what things are like now, and how they are still actively working every single day, they tell me, to solve these cases. There were 3 lawsuits filed against the mall, 2 here in Palm Beach County and 1 in Broward County. The Jane Doe lawsuit is the only one that was actually filed by the victim, because she's the only surviving victim in these cases. That was the one that was filed in Broward County. And this one is really interesting because this can actually speak to the effects that the kidnapping had on the victim, that it transformed her health, mentally and physically, and that it absolutely traumatized her and transformed her life. She survived, she was physically unharmed, but your mental health, if you're traumatized enough, can manifest in your physical health for years, and that's really disturbing to think about. The Boquicchio lawsuit was filed by Joanne Bruno, the sister of Nancy Boquicchio, on behalf of Nancy and her daughter Joey, and again, very similarly. Simon Malls should have been paying attention. They should have known about what the lawsuit refers to as foreseeable dangers and done more to protect the visitors coming there. The Randy Gorenberg murder happened before the Boquicchio case, before the Jane Doe case. So you would think it would have a lot of different themes than the other 2 lawsuits that were filed, but actually it was really similar. It essentially accused Simon Property Group, the owner of the Boca Raton Center Mall and lots of other malls across the country, of wrongful death and negligence. They said they should have been more aware of potential security issues at the mall. Simon Property Group essentially denied all allegations of negligence and wrongful death, and in the Doe case out of Broward County, turned around and filed a cross-claim against the contractor they hired to conduct their security at the Boca Raton Center Mall. All 3 of these lawsuits, Boquicchio, Doe, and Gorenberg, ended in settlements, the terms of which were not made public in court records. I wanted to know what has changed, particularly given the allegations and the claims that there was inadequate security in all 3 of those lawsuits. So I did take that question to Boca Raton Police.
The surveillance system at the time didn't capture what we needed.
I think the mall, their concern at the time, they did. They installed different cameras, they installed security. They do have our units there patrolling at busier times. We have a substation there. So I do think things were done in reaction to these cases, yes.
It has been so long. A fugitive can be across the country in less than a week, and in this case, it's been 17 years. It blows my mind to think about where this person could be now.
The task force will continue to put out this picture. They will continue to tap into local resources.
Tell me about why we don't really see that sketch anymore.
Well, I think we're going almost 17 years, and I think because times have changed, and if we were to promote that sketch, it's a sketch from 17 years ago, and the suspect's obviously aged 17 years.
Next, keeping hope alive.
Well, if you know something, say something.
The never-ending pleas to finally bring some peace.
The lasting impacts of the 2007 murders and attacks tied to the town center at Boca Raton, the pain left behind, it is palpable with every single person we talk to. But they keep doing this. They keep talking about Randy and Nancy and Joey because they have hope that keeping that attention will lead to a break.
Randy was every mother's dream of a daughter. She was the best. I was so lucky to have had her. It's a question that everybody wants to know when someone dies. Why? You know, why? Like after it happened, I said, why? Why?
Her husband lost a wife, her kids lost a mother, and Heidi lost a daughter.
Detective Springer of the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office.
Every case is a puzzle.
We have become very close. We used to talk to each other practically every other day. He'll call me up. I got news for you. He'll tell me about something that they're doing. I would like to solve it just because I'd like to know who did this and why they did this. But it's never going to be final because it's always here. I do very often contemplate how my life would be if she were around. It's such a beautiful life it would have been.
She was a little angel. Not because she was my niece, but she really was. That face is what she had all the time. She smiled at everyone. And I remember saying, this child is gonna be known all over Boca. She was like 3.5, and she'd order clams on the half shell. So waiters didn't forget that. I can't imagine what they went through. Poor little Joey. I can't imagine how scared she was. I mean, no, not a day goes by. Not an hour goes by that we don't talk about them. Always.
All these years later, what big questions do you have?
Where is he? Will they get him? She knows that I would never give up. I know she's looking down, and she's praying that this will help.
We probably check in at least every couple of weeks, you know, if it's a phone call or a text. If you'd asked me then, would we be as close as we are now? You know, absolutely not.
That's what I think made this relationship The thoughtfulness, the kindness, it made me feel like I knew he was never forgetting it. He was always there. I mean, I could have called him any hour, any day.
I would text her or call her at night or on the weekends when there was nothing going on, but it was just my way of letting her know, look, I'm not at work, we're not doing anything, but I'm thinking about you, and by definition, I'm thinking about the case.
What are the odds of finding this guy?
Well, it's the ultimate needle in a haystack. We could be missing that one sliver and that one piece of information that you as the public may not think it's important, but it could be important to us.
You just can't give up, you know what I mean? Not even close to being done. Until this case gets solved, I don't think I'll ever feel complete.
All I want to see is closure, and I want to see Heidi have some peace of mind.
They got to mess up once for us to catch them.
So I say to the Boquicchio family and to Randy Gorenberg's family and to people that are involved in this, someday this guy's going to trip up. I always believe that. And justice delayed is not justice denied.
They keep telling me it's like a puzzle. And of course, I'd say 90% of the puzzle I don't know because they can't say. But they said just the slightest little piece could put the whole thing together. So that's why I have to bring my sister peace.
If you know something, say something. Do something. Help us.